She had always believed that Christmas was supposed to feel magical, but for 12-year-old Emily, magic didn't come easily. She lived with her mother in a tiny, worn-down apartment on the edge of town, where the heater rattled louder each winter and the refrigerator was never as full as she wished it would be. Her mother worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3 when the holidays came around, and even then, they barely made it through each month. But despite everything, her mother always tried to keep a smile on her face, a soft tenderness in her voice, and a warmth in her hugs that made Emily feel safe. And because of that, Emily wanted nothing more than to give her mother something special, something meaningful, on Christmas morning. But there was a problem. She had no money, no allowance, no savings, no way to buy anything except what she could gather herself, one small coin at a time. It started almost accidentally. One day in January, after school, she found a shiny penny lying near the playground bench. She picked it up, rubbed it gently, and placed it in her pocket. Later that day, she slid it into an empty glass jar she kept on her dresser. That tiny sound, the tink of a single penny, sparked an idea. Maybe, just maybe, she could save enough for a Christmas gift by the end of the year. A real gift, something her mother wouldn't expect. From that day on, she collected every coin she found. Pennies on the sidewalk, nickels dropped behind the couch, dimes near vending machines, quarters in the laundry room, every coin mattered. Sometimes her mother's exhausted friends left loose change on the table after visiting, and when they forgot it, Emily would quietly add it to her jar. Other times she helped neighbors carry groceries just so she could walk through the parking lot keeping an eye out for anything shiny on the ground. To others, it might have seemed crazy. A coin here, a coin there. But to Emily, every tiny piece felt like a step closer to making her mother smile. Her mother never asked what the jar was for. She saw her daughter guarding it carefully, but she assumed it was just a childhood habit, part of a girl's imagination, perhaps a game. She never imagined the truth behind it, that her daughter was collecting hope. By November, the jar was halfway full, heavy enough that Emily couldn't lift it without using both hands. But she still didn't know what she wanted to buy. Every night she pictured walking into a store and choosing something that would make her mother's eyes shine the way they used to, before the bills got too heavy, before the stress turned her smile fragile. But what could she afford with a jar of coins? A keychain, a candle, maybe a small picture frame. Part of her felt discouraged. She saw other kids in her class talking excitedly about what they were buying their parents: expensive sweaters, smartwatches, jewelry. Emily kept quiet. She didn't mention the jar. She didn't mention the coins. She simply kept saving. As December approached, the whole town transformed. Lights appeared on rooftops. Snow settled along the sidewalks. Store windows glowed with decorations, toy displays, and signs announcing Christmas sales. Everyone seemed excited. Everyone seemed merry. Everyone except her mother, whose fatigue grew deeper as she worked extra holiday shifts. Sometimes she came home so tired that she quietly wiped her eyes when she thought Emily wasn't watching. Those moments, those quiet tears, hurt Emily more than anything. So she decided. Her mother deserved something that showed love, not something expensive. She didn't need a fancy gift. She needed something meaningful. On December 23rd, after school, Emily poured her jar onto her bed. Coins scattered everywhere, pennies rolling to the edge, quarters spinning. Nickels clattering like tiny echoes of her year-long dedication. She counted slowly, carefully, making small stacks. When she finished, she stared at the total. $6.47. It didn't seem like much for all the time she had spent. But she didn't let disappointment win. She wrapped the coins in a napkin, tied it with a piece of yarn, and tucked it into her pocket. Then she put on her jacket, wrapped her scarf around her neck, and walked downtown, watching the warm glow of Christmas lights paint the streets in gold. She stepped into a small convenience store. It smelled faintly of cinnamon and hot chocolate. A friendly older cashier greeted her, but Emily barely nodded. She was too nervous. She walked up and down the aisles, searching for something small yet meaningful. A candle, too expensive. A coffee mug, not enough money. A fuzzy pair of socks, too childish. Then she saw it. Sitting quietly on a dusty shelf near the greeting cards was a little snow globe. Inside it was a tiny house covered in snow, a warm golden light shining from its windows. It looked just like the kind of home her mother always dreamed of having one day: small, cozy, safe. Emily picked it up gently and shook it. The snow swirled around the tiny home, peaceful and magical. She checked the price tag, $5.99. Her heart sped up. She could buy it. For the first time all year, her dream felt real. She placed it on the counter and unwrapped the napkin full of coins. The cashier looked surprised as Emily carefully counted out every penny. When she was done, the woman smiled softly. "This is a very special Christmas gift, isn't it?" Emily nodded, embarrassed but proud. The cashier placed the snow globe in a small paper bag, tied the top with red ribbon, and handed it to her with a warm smile. "Your mother is going to love this." Emily walked home feeling lighter than she had all year. On Christmas morning, her mother woke up earlier than usual. Emily rushed to her room with the little paper bag and placed it in her mother's hands. "Open it," she whispered, nervous and excited. Her mother carefully untied the ribbon and pulled out the snow globe. She stared at it for a long moment, then shook it. Snow swirled around the tiny house. Her mother's lips trembled. Tears quickly filled her eyes, not the tired tears Emily had seen before, but warm tears, overflowing with emotion. "Emily, how did you?" Emily told her everything. The jar, the coins, the year of saving, the counting, the store, the cashier, the dream of giving her mother something special. And her mother cried harder, pulling her into her arms. But the story didn't end there. Later that day, when neighbors stopped by to share holiday greetings, her mother told them the story, the coins, the jar, the snow globe, the love behind it. Word spread quickly throughout the building. People were deeply moved. Some even felt embarrassed, realizing how often they had overlooked the quiet struggles of the little family living down the hall. By evening, something extraordinary happened. One by one, neighbors began knocking on their door. Some carried bags of groceries. Others brought warm blankets, jackets, toys, and gift cards. A local business owner heard the story and offered her mother a better-paying job. Another neighbor, a nurse, connected her with a clinic for free medical checkups. And the cashier from the convenience store even came by with a box of holiday treats and extra food for the week. Their small apartment filled with kindness, warmth, and love, more than Emily had ever imagined possible. But her mother kept the snow globe close to her chest, as if it were the most precious treasure in the world. Later that evening, as they sat together on the couch watching the tiny snow swirl inside the globe, her mother whispered, "You didn't just give me a gift, Emily. You reminded me that miracles still happen." And Emily realized something beautiful. Her little jar of coins had given her mother far more than a snow globe. It brought hope into their lives. It brought kindness to their home. It brought a community together. And most of all, it reminded them both that even the smallest acts of love can create the biggest miracles. That year, Emily learned that Christmas magic doesn't come from money, expensive gifts, or perfect decorations. It comes from love, sacrifice, and the courage to care, even when life feels difficult. And in a tiny apartment on the edge of town, with a snow globe glowing softly in the dim light, Emily and her mother experienced the best Christmas they had ever known, a Christmas born from the smallest of coins and the largest of hearts.